Today's topic of discussion is hidden desire. So I see a lot of guys in today's time complaining that women don't want them, women are playing hot and cold, they're getting ghosted by women, and they're playing all these games. So in this video we're going to be discussing some key points in terms of whether or not a woman has desire for you and has interest in you, or she's just playing games. So first point is tests. Now I'm going to play this 1 minute clip for you guys of a woman talking about how other women test guys. So I'll play it now for you guys.
She's testing you. Are you passing? It's true. Women shit test men. But it's not because they're evil. It's because they're wired to screen for strength. So here's a few shit tests that you want to make sure you pass. She cancels plans last minute. She wants to see how much you value your time. Or don't. She always takes hours to respond, even though you respond immediately. She wants to see if you'll match her energy. She mentions other guys around you. She wants to see if you'll get jealous or remain unfazed. She breaks little promises that she makes to you. She wants to see if you'll hold her accountable or let it slide. She goes a little cold after you show interest. She wants to see if you'll panic or hold your frame.
Okay, so you guys are back now. You've had a watch of it. Now, in that video, the woman was talking about how women test guys that they like. So one of them can be testing his confidence. So let's say you and a girl are both texting each other. You're both having a little back and forth. And then you send a text message and she reads it and leaves it unseen. Now, for the majority of guys, they're going to see that as, oh my God, what has this woman done? She left me halfway through the conversation and just left me unseen. And then they start panicking. Start thinking, oh my God, let me send another message and try and get her to initiate. So what they'll do is they'll send another message, and then when she sees that, she leaves it unseen, and then he'll send another one. He'll keep doing that until she eventually loses all the interest. Now, for guys who are watching this, they're thinking, oh, the woman shouldn't be testing guys. Why are women playing these stupid games? Well, the truth of the matter is, these women nowadays are testing guys through the phone. So they're filtering out the guys who genuinely have high confidence and guys who have low confidence. Now, there's a bunch of guys who have put on a facade on social media. They got all these lifestyle photos. They got all these videos of them eating at restaurants and, driving rented cars and so on. So when a woman sees that, she thinks, oh, okay, this guy here looks interesting. He's got his little fade haircut. He's got his polo shirt on and he's sat at the beach. So then what she'll do is she'll have a conversation with the guy, have a little discussion with him, and then randomly she may say something stupid. Let's see if this guy here agrees. Now, with the guys who are beta simps, they'll read it and they'll say, oh yeah, I agree with you, the sky is red, it isn't blue, and so on. And then she's going to think to herself, this guy here is just a yes man. He's just trying to get in my knickers. You don't want to be that type of guy who has no backbone. So if you see a woman behaving cold, distant, she's pulling away, you don't need to start panicking and start thinking, oh my God, this woman here, she's going to lose interest and she's going to go speak to another guy. Well, the truth of the matter is, these women nowadays are speaking to a bunch of different guys. A lot of these girls are loose out in the streets. They're behaving promiscuously on a day-to-day basis. They ain't got no shame. And then, on top of that, they're leading on a bunch of different guys. So, the way to pass these tests are simply pull away. So when she pulls away, stop initiating. Because that right there conditions a woman to show the same level of respect. Because the truth is, right, a bunch of these women don't have no respect for guys nowadays. They haven't got any respect. None whatsoever. So this is what it is. You guys here need to have a backbone. Start assessing your own behavior and start seeing what you're doing wrong. Because the truth of the matter is, you can only control your own behavior. You can't control her behavior. So next point is pull back. Now, all women will pull back from time to time. Don't get it twisted and think, if a woman is showing high interest, she really likes me, she's never gonna pull back or stop communicating with me for a day or 2 days and so on. That's just completely untrue. You have to see it as this. Majority of guys nowadays don't even get a text back from a woman. Girls nowadays aren't even looking at guys nowadays. Majority of these guys aren't deemed good enough for these women, which is ridiculous because these women here have got high body counts themselves. So there's a complete massive imbalance. You got all these women here saying they want top 10% guys. And then you've got women here who don't tick up. We've got women here who don't tick the requirements of the 10% of guys. How many of these women are actually protecting their chastity? So their virginity. These women here, they want to just dish it out from a young age. So when you guys are assessing these women, don't stop thinking that this woman here is just, the queen who's going to come save your life. Because 9 times out of 10, these women nowadays don't give a damn. So expect a woman to pull back from time to time. And then in those time periods, when she does pull away, and when, let's say, you stop communicating for a day, 2 days, week, 2 weeks, month, 2 months plus, You need to be working on your purpose. You need to have goals, objectives, targets. It doesn't necessarily have to be income-wise, but it needs to be value. You need to be constantly improving your value each and every single day. Because these women here, if they want to stay on the sidelines and just watch you guys and just stalk you on social media, that's what a lot of these women nowadays, that's all they're good for. Just stalking you. They don't want to communicate. They don't want to have a real relationship. They just want to sit on the sidelines and just watch guys all day. That just shows you that that person there ain't good for you anyway. So next point is leverage. Now, these women, especially the younger women, so let's say 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, around that age ranges, they don't want you to have any leverage. So if they deem you as a guy who's high value or higher value, she doesn't want you to know that. She don't want you to think, I really, really like you. These women here, they've been programmed to think if they show interest or if they show some type of desire or some type of cooperation, then the guy is just going to run away, or he's just going to view her as every other girl. This is completely untrue. Women nowadays, especially the younger ones, they don't want to show any interest. So her behavior and body language will show one thing, but then what she says is another. So, scenario, give you guys an example. Let's say you and a girl are both talking to each other. You exchange contact details, and then let's say a week, 2 weeks into the conversation, she throws you a test. She starts saying, I'm not interested anymore. And then guys start thinking, oh my God, what's this woman doing? She's pulling away. She's going to run away. She's going to leave me. She's just testing you, okay, to see whether or not you're going to crumble. So she'll pull away, and then she'll see how much leverage she's got over you guys. Is this guy able to live without me? So I've mentioned this in a video before as well, when it comes to blocking guys. Some of these women, who are like insecure, they've got avoidant attachment styles and so on. They will literally block a guy, expect that same guy to chase them. And then when that guy isn't chasing her and he just stops communicating for like a week, 2 weeks, month, 2 months plus, in her delusional head, she's thinking, this guy here isn't interested. He doesn't love me enough. Because if he loved me, he would try and put in more effort. The issue is, right, these women here have a problem within themselves. Because a relationship is a two-way process. Sometimes you need to communicate, sometimes she needs to communicate. It's not about leverage and thinking that, if I show this guy interest, he's going to use me and he's going to try and take advantage of me. These women here, they've got baggage, oftentimes. So those are the type of women who you need to avoid. You need to just keep them on the sidelines. So, final point is friends. Now, these women are very good at telling their friends the whole A to Z about you guys. She'll tell her friends, did you watch this video he made today? He said this, all women are skits. Or he must have said that he doesn't like this type of woman. These women here, they just gossip and chit chat about everything. Don't think for a second that these women here are just having friendly conversations about you guys. They literally are plotting and scheming on a daily basis. They're thinking, how can I gain power over this guy? How can I get this guy to chase after me? It's one big game to these girls nowadays. So the women who are a bit older, let's say 25 plus, 30 plus, they've literally been through those stages of life and they've had enough. So with them sets of women, you'll see them be more direct with you guys. They'll be more upfront. Because they know within themselves they haven't got time to waste. But the women who are younger, they feel as though they've got all the time in the world to play silly games. So as I mentioned from the beginning part of the video, so you can have healthy tests. So when a woman is testing a guy's confidence, seeing if he's needy or desperate, you can understand those type of games and tests. But certain times, right, these women just want to keep testing all day long. They want to just do it all the time. So with them sets of women, your best bet is giving them no contact. So you guys can watch my other videos on no contact. So just to wrap up, tests. So as I said at the beginning of the video, these women here, especially modern day women, they love to test guys. So they'll test a guy for weeks, months, years. These women here, they're very, very indecisive. They're very unsure. They can't execute and move forward. So they're always just going to be hesitant, and they're thinking, let me give him another test. So some of them can be conscious tests, where she'll say a provocative statement and then see how you react to that. And then other tests are subconscious. Now, she doesn't even realize she's doing tests subconsciously. So with the tests in and of itself, the way to pass them is by no contact. And then next one after that was pullback. So whether you like it or you don't like it, the women who like you guys the most, they're going to be pulling back a lot. So if she's put you in a friend zone, you best bet she's going to be chit-chatting with you every single day and just sucking all your attention, because your attention is all the way down here. She ain't got no respect for it. So you don't want to be in that position where you're in a friend zone. That right there, you're never going to get out of it. It's like a 1% chance where a guy eventually gets his hands on some sloppy seconds. Just pathetic. And then next one after that was leverage. These women here, especially in today's time, they don't want to give you any leverage. None, zero. As soon as they think this guy here knows that I'm interested in him, they're going to quickly pull away. It's just insecure women in today's time. Just as how there's a bunch of insecure guys as well. So if you guys are amongst the handful of men who are actually secure within yourselves and confident within yourselves, you're not going to fall victim to these petty games. So if a woman uses it against you, if, for example, you show her interest and you show her a desire for marriage and to speak to her the right way, and she's just all over the place, that's not a woman who you want in your life. You want a woman who knows what she wants in life. So whether it's family, children, healthy marriage, the other ones who are independent boss babes, men are trash. I don't need a man for anything. Just keep them ones on the sidelines. Don't pay them any attention. And then the final point was friends. So you best bet these girls are telling their friends everything. So every single message that you send, every single detail you give about yourself, you best bet they're telling the whole set of friends. The whole group of them. Or she may only have one or two of them. Whichever it is. Because women are social creatures. You know, they need the validation of their friends. Because if they don't get that, then they're going to automatically think you're not a good man. And that's what's destroying a lot of relationships nowadays. So I hope that makes sense, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.